Good evening, everybody. Welcome to At America. My name is Aninda, one of the guests here in At America, and we are so glad to have you here. If you're new here, At America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center, and our mission is to provide a space for young Indonesians to learn more about the United States. We are currently moving to digital platforms so you can enjoy our events from the comfort of your own home. Well, at this event, we'll be discussing an interesting topic. Is traditional weaving only for the elderly? Well, we'll figure out. But in the meantime, how about we spice things up a little bit with a trivia? The question for today is it true or false? The art of weaving in each region has different characteristics. Let me repeat once again. Is it true or false? The art of weaving in each region has different characteristics. Well, take a guess and let us know your answer on our social media because in the end of the event, we'll do a live chat for those of you who can guess the answer correctly. Other than that, don't forget to take a selfie and tag at America's Instagram account. All right, before we begin, I would like to invite for the opening remarks Ibu Mary Trishak, Assistant Cultural Affairs Officer of U.S. Embassy Jakarta. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mary Trishak. I am the Assistant Cultural Attaché at the U.S. Embassy in Jakarta. I'm delighted to join you tonight for this program on Meet the Makers, where we will bring together artisans from Indonesia and the United States who will tell us about how they've preserved their traditions and how what they're doing to pass down those traditions to the next generation. Indonesia has such a wonderful cultural heritage with traditional textiles, batiks, mat weavings, jewelry, ceramics, so many different kinds of things. All of these reflect cultural identity, the traditions, and the rituals from each of the locations that they originate from. Unfortunately, many of these traditions are being lost or neglected or dying out, much as they are in America. And so tonight we're going to talk about how we can preserve those really important pieces of our cultural heritage and pass them on for everyone in the future to enjoy. The United States government is proud to support Indonesian artisans, craftsmen, and designers. We believe that you contribute greatly to the creative economy here in Indonesia, but also the global creative economy. So with Meet the Makers tonight, we want to bring together Indigenous artists and contemporary artists, artists from America and artists from Indonesia, to learn from one another and share their best practices. Tonight's event is about collaborative exchange. We want to hear your stories, your knowledge and experience, so that we can all learn from one another and we can work together to make sure that the future generations can appreciate and enjoy the culture of their ancestors. So without any further ado, I'm going to pass it back over to you. But thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I hope you have a wonderful discussion.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome, Bu Mary. Without further ado, I would like to pass the floor to Ibu Tuti Rahmawati, Director of Center for Public Policy and Management Studies of Parayangan Catholic University. Ibu Tuti, the time is yours.
Thank you, Aninda, and good evening, everyone. I am honored to be invited and join this event for this evening. We have a very good questions given to us since the beginning of this event by Aninda. Is traditional waving only for the elderly? And I hope whoever you are joining us today, we will have a fruitful discussion. Now, we in the spirit of Women International Days, a few days ago, in the 8th of March 2022, this evening we will hear three inspiring talks from three wonderful ladies. Right, I would call them as a um, fearless warrior as they work in the traditional weaving has, I'm sure, has created meaningful and impactful um, for others, and to introduce this traditional weaving. So we have Dr. Linda McIntosh, an independent researcher and researchers associate of the Tracing Patterns Foundation. She loves Southeast Asian fabrics, and she is a proud Law American independent curator of textile from around the world. We also have the second speakers, Ibu Hyacinta Klise, founders of the Lama Renan Tenun Tanimbar. And she is the granddaughter of a Tanimbar weaver, and she is proudly carrying her family's heritage. For the third speaker, we have Ibu Adi Nindya Arya Wisnutama, co-founder of Lawe Indonesia. So Dr. Linda, Ibu Hyacinta Klisa, and Ibu Adi Nindya, you will have, each of you will have 7 to 8 minutes to give your inspiring talk to us. And I'm looking forward to hear your story and your experience. Please, can we start with Dr. Linda first for the presentation?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for having me on this meeting to share my experience and yeah. Basically, I'm trying to enter the talk tonight is traditional weaving only for the really. No, you have a group of weavers from the Katuna group in southern Laos, so Huihun village. And we have, toddlers, teenagers, and adults of different ages. They're very proud of their hand weaving skills and their identity found in textiles. Here are several women, all couture weavers under the age of 20. So here on the left, we have Miss Duong. She started weaving at 13 years old. Now she's 14. In the middle is her sister, Dane. She's 16 now, 17. And then their cousin on the right is 18. So here they're embracing their heritage and the heritage of their ancestors. And at the beginning, Duong was not so interested in weaving because she saw it as old fashioned and for her, and she wanted to focus on her studies. But particularly in this period during the COVID-19 pandemic and with the closure of schools, many adults had free time on their hands. And so instead of, anyway, goofing off on their telephones all the time, Duong joined her sisters, her mother and other female relatives, such as her aunts, in the act of weaving. And so here she's quite skilled, and you can see how proud she is of her creations.
Dr. Linda,
Dr. Linda,
sorry, but your presentation.
Yes.
But your presentation,
will you share your presentation?
So sorry, was it not heard? Okay. Okay, sorry. Okay. Let me find the share, but sorry about that.
That's all right. Yes, it's coming. Yes, now we can see your presentation.
Okay, sorry. Here.
Mas Peter, is it me or is it my network or is it Ibu Linda's? Yeah?
No, it's Ibu Linda's.
Okay, so
Ibu Linda, let us share your presentation because I think you have a connection problem.
Mm-hmm. Is it okay for Ibu Linda as
Okay,
well to
so-
turn off her camera? Maybe that will
Yes,
help.
maybe if you
Yeah.
could turn off your camera, we will listen from our side. Yes.
Yes, please carry on, Ibu Linda.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah, you can just say next, book if you want to go to next slide.
Okay, so let's go. Next slide. Can
We go to the next slide. Yes.
thank you. Seeing it. Not seeing it on my slide. So here we have several generations of weavers from the Katu ethnic group from southern Laos, and proud of their skills and heritage. Yeah, so let's move to slide 3. Next, please.
Hello, Ibu Linda. Are you still with us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, now I can hear
me?
you. Yes.
Okay. Okay. We have 3 and one or 2 weavers under the age of 20. We see that they're quite thrilled and excited. And here's another weaver now, 14 years old, but she was 13 when she began to weave.
Okay. Shall we go to the next slide?
So here are adult women, showing their creations. So here we have select textiles that are not only hand woven and traditional, but also the weavers have the ability to add in their artistry, their creativity. So they create the designs, and it's traditional, but they're able to use their own skills to make new patterns and design formats. So particularly in this time, it's been a good way for women to express themselves. Instead of just following strictly traditional patterns, they can make new designs, including from their dreams. Some of the textiles, I'll have a photo. One example is the weaver on the left, Mrs. Nam. She dreamt of butterflies one day, so she started weaving butterflies into her textiles and the path of the butterfly flight. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so we see here Katu textiles being incorporated into modern day fashion. So this is from Tunun Fashion Week that was held in Kuching, Malaysia last December. So in this event, you had over 40 groups from ASEAN countries, and including Indonesia had probably the most number of entries or designers in Tunun Fashion Week. But here, fashion designers are using traditional textiles into modern day fashion. And this particular designer is Zoe Armianades. Sorry, she's French, and she was enlisted by one project in Europe called Send My or New Thread that wants to promote handwoven textiles in the European market. Next slide, please. So here's another shot from Tunun Fashion Week, and here's a Katu textile on the jacket with butterflies along the lapel. So here we see traditional textiles being used, but in more of a contemporary manner. And in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as the weavers are, continue to weave. They're able to express themselves, and also they're able to sell textiles and earn an income. Next slide, please. Yeah, so just showing more of these designs, because the jacket with the butterflies and the next are designs by the Weaving Sisters. So there are two sisters from this village. They're, they come from this Katu village called Huihun, and they started to, work in other cities. They moved from the village and went to the major kind of tourism areas. And so they were exposed to, different cultures from tourists from all over the world coming to visit. And they weave on a backstrap loom that's foot braced. So it's a little different from other looms. You have foot braced backstrap looms used all over Indonesia, but you usually have the warp kind of, on a warp beam that's tied to an independent beam. But with the Katu weavers, they use their feet, their back and their legs to control the tension on the warp. So they weave quite distinct textiles, because of this technical, method of weaving the textiles. And so they make a lot of designs using beads. And so the Weaving Sisters, now they're in their early 30s, through their exposure and also through their own talent, have decided to make fashions, not only for the local market in Laos, but also the regional market and internationally, because they've gone through different ASEAN countries, and one sister, Mon, has gone to the international folk art market in Santa Fe, the United States. Next slide, please. And so here are a few more of their designs, and the Weaving Sisters are here in the bottom right. So here we find kind of the youth, the younger generations of Laos, not only from the Katu ethnic group, but from other ethnic groups in the country of Laos, happily wearing the Weaving Sisters designs of Katu textiles. Next slide, please. Yeah, sorry, and this is Zoe Armeniada's designs, the French designer enlisted by Sinmai New Thread Project to use Katu textiles to make contemporary fashions. So here we have a skirt, a wraparound skirt, composed of different types of Katu textiles with the beaded designs, as well as decoration and complementary warp technique. And the baby doll blouse, also features Katu textiles as well as silk from the Tai Dam ethnic group. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, in Laos and in many countries, dressing up like the former royalty is kind of, is the fashion for weddings, and especially in Laos. And this is really grown in the last couple of years, especially since the government system of Laos changed in 1975 to a communist government versus a monarchy. But here we have hand-woven textiles in the style of royalty used, for the bride and groom's dress. So here are some fashions from this, and actually at my house. So you see, textiles can be used by the younger generations. Here we have a specific occasion, a wedding, but it still gives opportunities for women who are weavers to apply their skills and still make fine quality textiles. Next slide, please. Yeah, so basically going through the questions presented. So what is the importance of the younger generation learning the cultural heritage of their ancestors? So in my opinion, it's very important for the younger generations to know their cultural heritage. It gives them a grounding in the vast world. It gives them a place in the local, national, and international community. Everyone, including the youth, should be proud of their ancestors' knowledge. So I've been working with many communities in Southeast Asia, including Indonesia, and especially with the textile weavers in the Lower Regency of East Indonesia. We're here throughout Southeast Asia. Weaving is an important aspect of individual and group identity. especially in the last 100 years, textiles, hand-woven textiles, are an important aspect of national identity in the form of national dress. And weaving continues to be a group pastime. Women in the community get together to carry out different stages of weaving or textile production. And they can chat, gossip, talk about various topics. And men can visit, providing entertainment via flirting, chatting, playing music, or singing. It's a major social event. And singing and playing music may be replaced by recorded music, but still the social aspect of coming together to carry out textile production still exists. So in Laos, where I'm based presently, many women wear a tailored sarong made out of hand-woven cloth for any ceremonial event, small or large. This includes daily almsgiving, giving alms to Buddhist monks, or attending a special event such as a wedding or festival, and also at the workplace. So here in Laos, teachers, bank employees, and other government officials wear traditional textiles as part of their uniform.
Dr. Linda,
however,
sorry to interrupt
yes?
you. We have 2 more minutes. Will you be able to wrap that?
Okay. Okay. Well, I can just do quickly.
Yes, thank you. Sorry for that.
No, it's okay. Yeah. So, I'm saying, people use the textiles, and so the youth may find this as a little old-fashioned. It's just part of being a uniform. But I believe that the youth, the younger generations, the millennials, can take the textiles and make something new. That fits their own identity. Next slide, please. Okay, so challenges for the regeneration of traditional weaving is one is sustainability, making sure that the weavers get a fair price for the textiles they make, that it's not too low, because also in some countries, such as in Cambodia, the silk isn't locally produced, so it has to be imported. So the price of the silk outweighs the price of what the weavers can sell a traditional textile. So there should be support, either from the government or also be kind of campaigns from the local community to change people's awareness of textiles and understand their values, so they'll accept higher prices. Next slide, please. Yes, and just saying that I think the younger generations can apply their cultural traditions to their own culture. For example, there's a great project in Laos by Her Works that uses hand-woven cloth to make sneakers or espadrilles or slip-on shoes. And one campaign enlists young artists to decorate these sneakers. Since these are limited editions, these items are auctioned off. So they, also it generates interest in the young communities. And there's also another similar campaign in the Philippines called Lakat. So this is a time for the youth to get creative. Next slide, please. Yes, I believe that people of any generation can be interested in weaving and use it as part of their artistic expression. And also, it's in the new mindset where people interested in nature, conserving the environment, and slow processes such as slow cooking, that hand-woven textiles fits into this slow process. Slow process, not being mass-produced very quickly. Okay, and it's important to get role models such as influencers on social media to grab the attention of the millennial generation, to turn their attention to traditional textiles, hand weaving, and also the cultural heritage of their ancestors. Next slide, please. And for my message to the millennials about craft and weaving traditions and their cultural heritage, don't give up on your heritage. Without you, it will disappear. Culture isn't frozen. It always changes depending on the needs of society. So embrace your cultural heritage. Adapt it to your own style and use it as a mode of artistic expression. Next slide, please. Yeah, just example of the shoes I talked to you about from her works in Laos. They make sneakers as well as slip-on shoes out of hand-woven fabric. And then for this campaign, they enlisted young designers to decorate the sneakers, and then they auctioned these limited editions off. So this is one way to grab people's attention, especially in an auction-like setting, where people are excited rather than having textiles or like the sneakers for sale in a shop, but you have a special event that brings people together, whether it's virtually or in person, to share kind of the excitement on this artistic trend. Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Linda. That was amazing talks. So embrace our culture, adapt, and perhaps we can enrich the culture and we can preserve the heritage, right? All right, so for our next speakers, we have Ibu Hyacinta. Are you ready, Ibu Hyacinta? Will you be able to start share your screen?
Terima kasih Mbak Titik.
Mbak Tuti.
Mbak Tuti.
Yes,
Terima kasih
right.
Mbak Tuti. Ya, oke, saya akan membawakan presentasi dalam bahasa Inggris. Mungkin tapi kalau nanti diskusi mungkin bisa lebih fleksibel ya Mbak.
Ya, boleh. Silakan Mbak.
Okay. Lamerenan, the beginning of preservation effort in Tanimbar Ikat. So this is my experience, yeah. Okay. The background. I'm half Tanimbarese from my father and half Javanese from my mother. I was born and grew up in Java Island, but since I was a child, I was very close to the Tanimbar culture, even though it's very far away. Tanimbar is one of the foremost islands in Indonesia, border with Australia. My father and my uncle, who is also called Dad, were the first that introduced me to Tanimbar, the language, the songs, the food, and of course the Tanimbar Ikat. They made me in love with Tanimbar. In 1996 was my first encounter with a Tanimbar weaver. She is my grandmother, Liberata Mpariat Lamerenan. Yes, the name I immortalized in my brain, Lamerenan. For 5 years, she lived with us in Bekasi and she brought her loom with her too. That time I knew that it was her precious things, but I didn't realize that she was a great artist. I remember if she went to church, she would look at the picture on people's clothes and she would count by moving his forefinger. Then she would say, I can do that. When she got home, she would draw in her book a motif inspired by the picture she saw on the people's clothes. At that time, until I was old enough, I thought that weaving was just an activity to spend time for elderly women. Now I regret not having time to learn to weave directly from my grandmother. In 2011, after I graduated from college, I came to Tanimbar. It was my first time and made me fall in love with Tanimbar even more. I found my cousin, Yacinta Clise, or Yanti Clise, was weaving. She is around 30 years old at that time. After my grandmother died, only Kayanti in my family who continue to weave. This is the general picture in other families in Tanimbar. There is a regeneration problem in Tanimbar. Maybe like me before, the younger generation is not interested in weaving because they see weaving activities only for the elderly. But Kak Yanti added that the economic motivation also affected them. Income from selling Tanimbar Ikat continues to decline. They prefer to make money in other ways. How about a traditional event? I asked. Kayanti said the need for new clothes for traditional events is not many because the system, adat system, only rotates. They use clothes that has been stored for a long time. This experience left me unable to sleep. I'm afraid of losing my cultural heritage. I keep thinking and thinking, how can I keep it and carry on? I want to stay longer in Tanimbar and learn to live too, but I didn't have the courage to leave my job in Jakarta yet. Then I decided to do what I could do from Jakarta. In 2014, I started the Lamerenan business with Kak Yanti. We were selling Tanimbar Ikat and other products made from Tanimbar Ikat. For me, this is my medium to document and research more deeply about Tanimbar culture than promote it. In 2019, I partnered with another weaver from Kandar Island. Oh no, I mean from Kandar village. Her name was Yalanti Masrikat. We tried to produce Tanimbar Ikat with natural dyes because in Tanimbar, the production of woven fabrics like this is very rare, especially the use of hand-spun cotton. No weaver is able to make it anymore. So currently we are still using commercial yarn, but which is more environmentally friendly. We use stencil and cotton, not polyester. To motivate Kalanti even more, I invited her to the World Ikat Textile Symposium in Jakarta with support from several organizations. She became a speaker, participated in natural dye training and networked with other weavers, not only from Indonesia, but from other countries. It works. Not only Kalanti, who was getting more excited, Rani, her daughter, who was still studying Maritime Academy in Java, was also motivated. When the pandemic hit and Rani had to study online, she came home and helped her mother in weaving until now. She realized that income from weaving can support her in college. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm still struggling to this day, but I'm happy doing this because I feel this all is my spiritual journey to learn the deeper meaning of life. Learn to live in harmony with nature, learn to live slower to increase awareness because in as a generation living in an instantaneous era, I always want to move fast and sometimes lose my consciousness. With Lamerenan, I feel close to my ancestor, and at the end, I feel close to God. Perhaps this is the message that the ancestors wanted to deliver through their cultural heritage. And I think if young people can catch on this message, they will be motivated from within to preserve their heritage. And I believe if we focus on cultural values, then the economic values will follow. And in 2019, I also started to learn weaving with Kak Lanti, but only 1 month. And now I have a new teacher named Yeni Sairatu. She is a young Tanimbar weaver, but live here in Bekasi near my house. So now, am I have time? Still have time? Okay. Okay.
Yes, but
Now,
yes,
yeah, this is the ikat technique. The hardest part for me to learn. And
you still have about 3 minutes, Mbak Sinta.
Okay. Okay, it's now I want to share a glimpse of the philosophy of Tanimbar Ikat. Yeah, this is the type of these are the types of ikat Tanimbar. There is tais or sarung, sinun, one set of clothes. In the past, it used to cover the coffin, and then the loincloth. And now many weavers produce the contemporary ikat for fashion, for skirt and suit. And this is the type of sarung, tais marin, tais matan, tais sikatim. And about the motif, there are more than 40 motifs of ikat, and lelemuku, tunis, sair, ulerati. Ulerati is hundred of caterpillar. I really love this ikat because it is a symbol of the basic process of life. Hundred of caterpillar means is hundred of caterpillars, bulan sindak, and we use tenun in our traditional event, yeah, like rituals, wedding rituals and funeral rituals. And when one of my beloved uncle died last year, woven clothes gave me a new meaning. With woven clothes, I can express my love, my respect, and gratitude to him. So it means a lot to me. And yeah, in Tanimbar there is kinship system named Duan and Lolat, and which regulate our rights and obligation in family. So when in wedding rituals, bride get ikat from great grandmother's brother and from her own brothers. Then groom also get ikat from the bride's family as a return of the dowry. So Tanimbar ikat textile as a binder of family relation. Duan Lolat. So traditional costume and other rituals. And there is no special ikat for nobility or common people. All people are equal. Like our slogan, Lebit Lokat, gold for everybody. Mm-hmm. And right now, we collaborate, Lamerenan collaborate with other designer and small enterprise brands. And because we want to focus in the textile itself. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, that is very interesting and inspiring. So we don't want to be regretful, right? We don't want to be regretful that more than 40 motifs is lost if we don't pay attention, or we don't embrace, and we don't adopt. And what I find it really interesting is that you, Bashinta, you found that it has spiritually changed you. Yeah, you said that it's not only culturally affecting, but it's spiritually affecting, and it has such a deep philosophical meaning to you and your family and your name and the whole heritage of Tanimbar Island. Yeah, wonderful. All right, so our third speaker, we have Mbak Dinindya from Lawe, Indonesia. Mbak Dinindya, are you ready to share your screen? Yes, it's coming. Okay, so you have 8 minutes as well. I will give you a reminder when you have only 3 minutes left. I hope that's all right.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Greetings from Jakarta. I'd like to share our Lawe Indonesia already done from 2004 and what our efforts to regenerate this weaving traditional culture in Indonesia. As you can see now on the screen, there are young weavers that we accompany in Bayan Village, North Lombok, Nusa Tenggara Barat. And this is about us. Lawe itself is a community social enterprise that have 2 missions actually. First is to conserve Indonesia traditional handwoven, and second is to empower women. So we create products, the functional products transformed from traditional handwoven, and our goals is to improve the livelihood, especially for the women. And this is our vision, mission, and core value that we believe in Lawe. So our vision is to be a leader on a sustainable weaving movement that conserves traditional Indonesia hand weaving whilst providing a self-sufficient livelihood for women artisans. And the mission, I've already mentioned that we want to develop a center of excellence, producing the conserving and producing and conserving the tradition of high quality Indonesian hand weaving. And then on the empowering women, we empower women and community to create contemporary products, especially using traditional hand weaving. So, and we sell that on the domestic for corporate customers and customers beyond Indonesia. We have three core values. First is the transformation. This transformation means for development and growth of not only the products, but also the communities and the women. So what we have in Lawe is not merely the business, but we give them the opportunity to maximize their potential. And on the sustainability value, we champion sustainability of traditional Indonesian hand weaving. And it's not only about the ecological values, but also the economical values. And the third value is the generosity. It's on the knowledge and the products. So we have a lot of activities that we share the knowledge that we already built from 2004. And we also create products that the margin will give back to the communities. And this is a glance of our people. We already more than 17 years on the business. There are 15 team members with us now, and they are all have ownership in Lawe's business. And we work together with artisans, with sewers, and for the weavers group, we have them as our main raw material suppliers, and also a lot of them become learners and weaving advocates. So we already serve from North Sumatra to a little island in Nusa Tenggara Timur uh, for weaving classes and product development classes. And our program beneficiaries are almost 5,000 persons within 4 years. We our data calculated from 2018 to 2021. And in Lawe, we divide uh, into two clusters of activities. First is our social programs that we divided into 4 clusters. The one is the craft classes, and then we also have short courses, long courses, and the newest one is the weaving trips. But unfortunately, this pandemic give us a big challenge on the weaving trip. So we hope that the pandemic will end soon, and we can continue our programs. And for the businesses, we have many kind of product range, namely the bags as our fast movers product, also pouch and wallet, and we are now expanding on the apparel products. And for the companies and for the merchandise for institution, we have custom merchandise cluster and gifts, and also soft toys and home decor. And this is one of our goals in 2022, to make weaving attractive to younger generation. So actually, it answer the them of this event today. And our goals is to touch 1,000 young people with weaving tradition. And we will have like a celebration or a festival on National Handwoven Day on September 7th. We hope all of you can join us. And we will expand the training programs and academic partnership during this program. We also have a goals to promote handwoven tradition and know-how through digital and in-person programs. This is what we can see the portrait of Indonesia's weavers. A lot of them are senior citizens, like Hyacinthas already mentioned on the Tanimbar also. They are like above 70 years old, but they still weave every day, so they can keep the handwoven as like a saving. So anytime they need money, they can cash it on the market. And this is what we call portrait of hope. We can see that Indonesia has a very wide range of handwoven, starting from Aceh to Maluku Island. And we can see that actually young weavers are rarely to find, but we also know that if they understand the value and it's like a hidden treasure that we need to develop together. This is the children that involved in Ningkam How Many Festival in Molo Village, Timor Tengah Selatan, Nusa Tenggara Timur. And this is what we share our knowledge. We want to start from the babies. We invite kindergarten to see how the handwoven process in Yogyakarta. Some of them are really want to know how to move the looms, and this senior weavers eager to share what don't know is how to make the weaving process. And we also introduce them to our zero waste concept in the craft class. So to maximize the handwoven that we produce, we don't want to throw away even the smallest part of those handwoven, because as you know, in Yogyakarta, for 70 centimeters width of weaving cloth, we need to do like 2,100 thread one by one. So knowing the very detailed process, we don't want to throw any waste of the leftover. So we create this craft class to use those thread and to have yeah.
2 more minutes.
Okay.
2 more minutes. Sorry.
Yeah. And so they can feel what kind of handwoven they can make as a creation. And this is another craft class that we serve on the elementary school. It's in Kota Gede State Elementary School. And during this pandemic, we still have the class. This collaborate with MENA Indonesia. We done like many online classes, but this is the newest one for the weavers in Bena village. So we have a discussion on natural dye, handwoven, and the pattern philosophy. So we are very excited about that because we have very talented mamas there, and we have a young man that want to involve in this movement. And this is what we have in Sintang, West Kalimantan, in Ensait Panjang village. this is on the pandemic time also, but we have opportunity to have offline classes, and we involve like young artisans, girls artisans to learn how they can transform their traditional handwoven into functional product, and then to expand the potential of domestic market they have. And this is what we do in Kevaminanu, Timur Tengah Utara, Nusa Tenggara Timur, in collaboration with Teras Mitra under Weaving for Life program. We gather like about 80 young weavers that they want to learn to weave because there are a lack of knowledge sharing. Some of their mom already don't know how to weave, and then they need to learn from their grandmother. And and what we do there, we transform this clothes also, this textile also into functional product, and then the margin goes back to them as education support, fundraising. So you can see this beautiful hand woven. This is created by 6 years old young weaver to 9 years old. Oh no, sorry, 12 years old young weavers. So they have tremendous skills, and sometimes we surprise that they can create such a beautiful hand woven like that. And those programs we replicate that in Bayan. We have a collaboration with Sanggar Jajak Bayan in Bayan Village, Lombok Utara. They already have a program also for the elementary school children to learn how to weave, and then we expand that. And we also have some classes. We work with them within 2 years already, and like what you can see on the screen, that we invite Luak Mama or the boys to involve in handwoven design classes. So we don't only limit it to the girls to learn how to weave. And now this is the newest news that Jajak Bayan already have this program in elementary school and also in the state senior high school there as extracurricular. So they have like a meeting or like a workshop every week, and they learn together on the Sanggar. What's interesting that how they can attract the children, how to involve in this weavers regeneration is they combine weaving activities with traditional dance and gamelan lesson also. So these girls is not merely learn how to weave, but they can enjoy the lesson of dance and gamelan. And this is the latest group of Lawe that Lawe want to nurture. We call them weaving advocates. We involve this young person, not no need to weave or become artisans, but they help us to spread the spirit and the weaving culture stories around the world. And we in collaborate with architecture faculty of Gajah Mada University and product design faculty of Duta Wacana University. We work on like one semester on this program, and they already asked us to replicate this program. And we also have them to visit the weavers. They create the products. They create the they have to present what the transformation they make for the traditional hand weaving that they already knew. So there are many kind of ideas that come from the young generation. And we also have collaboration with Community Faculty of Atmajaya Yogyakarta University. That's for 1 semester also. They provide us a public communication for 7 clusters of our products. And also we put pictures, me and Ibu Tuti, when we share the knowledge of Lawe business plan, business model canvas, and our business model in Parayangan Catholic University. Also, we have a collaboration with Hiroshima University of Economic, Japan. They already like almost 10 years collaborate with us. So they usually send their students like twice a year, but it's already stopped within the pandemic. But we hope that we can still continue this project. That's all. So you can also give support and keep contact with us in our digital platforms, in our website, laweindonesia.com, in our e-commerce. You can purchase all our beautiful gifts in Shopee and Tokopedia. Also, you can contact us in Instagram, Lawe Indonesia, and FB page, Lawe Indonesia.
Thank great.
You.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ibu Adinindya. All right, now there is a question. I already looked into the list of the questions, and actually what you have been explaining to us and shared to us is one of the answers to that questions. But you said that you want to touch 1,000 young people, and I'm sure whoever joining us today this evening, I'm sure that that number 1,000 will be updated very soon, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. So now let's move on to the question and answer session. And I have here a questions. Okay. So the first question, I'd like to Dr. Linda and Ibu Hyacinta dan Ibu Adinindya. This question is through to 3 of you. So all of you, 3 of you, please give us a response to these questions. The question comes from Widya, and she wrote the question in Instagram. So I think we are live now in Instagram as well, yeah? So Dr. Linda, I think you are going to be the first. You ready? Yeah. Okay, so the question from Widya is, what can I do to conserve Indonesia traditional weaving? Sorry, I hope you also have, I'm sure you also have experience with Indonesia as well, right? Since you love Southeast Asian fabric. So, but the question is, what can I do? I means the youngster. What can the youngsters do to conserve the traditional weaving? I think it's not only for the Indonesian, but also for other traditional weaving. Yes, Dr. Linda, please.
Yes, thank you very much, for the question. Yes, I love Indonesian textiles very much too. You have so many different techniques and styles. The culture is so diverse, and it's reflected in the textiles produced by the women of Indonesia. Yes, I've also Indonesian textiles and jewelry of Indonesia and Timor, so you can find it through Plus bookstore. Yes, and for me, for the younger generations, this one is like start to use, traditional textiles. It can be from your own ethnic background, like textiles from another group, from another island. Why not try to use them and try to find ways to wear them, to use them as, decoration or as gifts. And then you start those when we TikTok, Facebook, Now with social media, you can reach so many people. And if you show that you like them, you love the textiles, your friends love the textiles, it will be catching, it's contagious. Because by accident, so when I was researching the textiles of the Katu ethnic group last year, I was visiting weavers and taking photos of their textiles and just showing them on Facebook. And people said, I want them. So I sold over 300 textiles through Facebook to people all over the world, because people who appreciate what they saw. So it's more giving people access to them. What you're using or what you're seeing, just take a photo and say, oh, this is the weaver, this is her name, and this is the textile she, if you're a weaver, it's support, whether you buy them or you find another way to support,
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Dr. Linda. There's a bandwidth problem with your internet, but I hope I catch your response properly. So I think perhaps the catchy idea for the youngster is that using social media. I mean, you mentioned about embracing the traditional weaving, the fabric. So by embracing, meaning you suggest that in daily activity or in daily use, youngsters start to use the traditional weaving and then adopt that, perhaps, since they are very they are the digital natives, so they are very good with the social media. And by present in the social media, I think you mentioned that you are giving access to those who are more appreciate with the traditional weaving. I hope I get it correct. Yeah, Dr. Linda. All right. So now, Mbak Yasinta. So what can the youngsters do to preserve or to help to conserve the Indonesia traditional weaving? Well, for sure, I'm very impressed with your knowledge, and I'm very it's moved me when you tell the story of the family of the Lamerenan name and how it's become your legacy. So what can you do, Mbak Yasinta?
Young people to preserve preserve heritage.
Yes, to preserve or conserve the Indonesia traditional weaving.
If you can support the weaver with buying first, if you can, or with buy their product and promote it, and but if you want to go more deep, and you can learn to weave. Just learn to weave and start to yourself, and just and start to your small circle, to ask your cousin, ask your to do the same. I think.
Oh yeah.
I think,
but Yasinta, you mentioned that there are actually lots of technical skills involved. When you tell us that when at the beginning you learn about weaving, it took you sometimes as well. I mean, you only learn it a month, but now, how long has it been for you to learning this? I'm sure the blood is in you. Yeah, you have the blood. It's running in your blood. But then you mentioned that you also have to the structure and then relearn of that thing. So how long it will take if there's a youngsters out there wanting to learn how to do this weaving?
Yeah, I know it's difficult. Yeah, it's I tell you, it is difficult for me because I live far away from my my cousin from Tanimbar. So actually I'm still learning right now, and still not, and still cannot do it without supervision from my teacher. So I cannot do it by myself right now. Still cannot do it right now, but I'm still studying.
Okay. All right. Yeah. For the third, and Ibu Nindya, uh, we will also like to hear your response on this question. How can the youngsters help and or contribute to conserving the Indonesia traditional waving?
Okay, so if we are talking about the connection with Lawe, we offer 5 things that you can join. The first is you can join us, Lawe, as a volunteer. So whatever your ability or your skill, I believe young people can do many things about how to grow this enabler community of weaving. And second, I can invite you to become one of our weaving advocate. You can spread the stories of many things actually from Indonesia's traditional handwoven, namely for about the story about the weavers, the story about the philosophies of the pattern, and also about creating contemporary pattern or designing a new product. And Lawe also will create the content of it, so you just can spread it. And the third one is you can join as a sisterhood of Lawe. So we create this program to support the peoples that don't have the production system support, but they want to establish their own brand. So you can creating your own brand, and you can choose what kind of Indonesia's hand weaving that you want to develop. And Lawe will help you on the design development, on the market target, and the production support. The fourth one is the simplest one, is to become our reseller. So we create many kind of products like I mentioned before, and you can join the group and you can earn money just by sharing the products information. And the last one is you can direct message us as in our Instagram Lawe Indonesia, and we can talk, we can discuss later in the future, or just jump the wagon and go to Jogja to our workshop.
I think the last one is the easier one.
Right.
Or not the easier one, but the most interesting one is just take the train or jump into the bus and go to Jogja.
Right.
Okay, so for Vidya and other participants in this event, so Ibu Adinindia already mentioned about 4 ways to help conserving the Indonesian traditional waving. The first one, I think it's the most interesting one. No. The first one is going directly to Jogja. And then the second one is become the reseller, because then you can earn money, right? That's the easiest way. That's also emphasized actually by Mbak Ashinta, because when you found this economically benefit, you will start to see that you can actually do something that is not only for the elderly, it can also useful for you, because it get you financially helped at least. And then what I love is the waving advocate, or you become the ambassador of the waving, the traditional waving, right? Not the ambassador of Lawe, right, Bu Anindya, yeah, but the ambassador of traditional waving, or Lawe call it the waving advocate, not the devil advocate, but the waving advocate. And then become the volunteers. I think there's also other way, like you mentioned, schools from elementary school, kindergarten to senior high school that are actually they put in place how the traditional waving integrated in their curriculum. I think for those who are also having contact with education or school or something, you can also support your contact to become one of the sisterhood of Lawe, right?
Yeah, and we already developed the curriculum for 3 stages of schools, from elementary school, junior high school, and senior high school.
So it can easily be adopted.
Right.
And it's not copyrighted, right? We don't have to pay anything to Lawe.
No.
Okay, right. So the next question. Oh yes, here. Okay, this is not question per se, but it says that I would say it in Bahasa Indonesia. So I will later on translate it for you, Dr. Linda. And it says that bangga banget, ternyata masih banyak anak muda Indonesia yang peduli dengan budaya tradisional seperti kain tenun ini. So Dr. Linda, this is said by Vienna in Instagram. She said that she is very proud that to learn that many youngsters in Indonesia actually care about this traditional weaving. I think when we feel proud, that needs to be translated, right? We have discussed about how to translate our feeling of proud by then what can I do, right? So yes, I think or Ibu Hyacinta or Ibu Adin India, do you want to say more to those who are saying that they're proud about or learning or knowing that many youngsters in Indonesia still care about budaya tenun? Do you have something else to say to them?
I only have one thing.
Yes, please.
Just walk the talk.
Yes, that's very good. Yeah, that's true. Walk the talk, just not ending with proud, not ending with bangga banget, but then you have to do something, right? Ibu Hyacinta, do you have anything else to say to those who feel proud?
Ya, bahasa aja ya. Nggak apa-apa sih, maksudnya di awal memang bangga dulu gitu. Di awal bangga dulu, di awal karena nanti cinta dulu kan, baru pas itu butuh proses sih memang. Saya maksudnya di Lamerenan juga bisa mendapat perubahan spiritual gitu ya yang tadi, itu juga karena prosesnya hampir 10 tahun gitu. Walaupun secara ekonomi memang masih struggling gitu ya untuk bisnisnya. Tapi ya itu dimulai dari rasa cinta dulu gitu. Seperti naik gunung gitu ya. Maksudnya awalnya harus cinta dulu, naik aja dulu gitu, lalu cinta sama alam dulu, baru itu akan berproses, entah kapan akan terpantik memang. Tapi awal proses itu memang mulainya dari rasa cinta dulu gitu.
Okay, yes, that's true. Proud, love, and then walk the talk. Yeah. Dr. Linda, I know that you wrote something there, but if you can directly say it to those who feel proud, please. Dr. Linda, are you still with us?
Sorry, can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yes,
okay,
yes, you can.
Yes, there was a question in the chat box. It said, there's so many textiles coming from abroad, for example, into Indonesia. How can are you still optimistic to compete? This is, the question. And yes, I'm optimistic. And when I said people have pride in their heritage, they want to support and preserve their heritage. And one way to do this is to consume the textiles. You buy them, you use them in some form or fashion, whether it's, if it's clothing, it can be a bag, it can be shoes, it can be, a gift of some sort, it can be a household accessory. There's many ways to use the textiles. And also if you buy local, you're reducing the carbon footprint. So you're also you're conserving the environment. So this is also one way to get other people involved. Because perhaps, it's okay if I want everyone to be interested in and love their cultural heritage, but some people love it more than others. But we can find other there are ways people protect the environment, conserve the environment, and also to say, okay, if you buy local, you're reducing the carbon footprint, and also you're preserving the environment. So I'm saying you can show your pride by using the textiles, displaying the textiles, and of course, buying the textiles.
Yes, that's very true. Dr. Linda, as I noted in your talks, you mentioned that in Laos, they still use an expensive imported materials. If I'm not mistaken, you mentioned about that, right?
Not imported materials, local materials. Yes.
Okay. So
it's locally, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Now, we still have other questions. Now, the question comes from Livy Mona. And Livy Mona asks, how do you combine the traditional modern elements in weaving industry? How do you combine the traditional and modern elements in weaving industry? Can we have Ibu Adin India first? Can you please respond to this question? How do you combine the traditional elements and the modern elements in the weaving industry?
Yeah, as we know that usually people use hand weaving, the traditional one, only for the ceremonial on their tribe, and then all of those are already declined, and then we need to create another segments for selling their products. So the modern touch, from my opinion, is not only the the system, but also come from a very simple things like developing new combination of colors, new pattern, and they can create their own philosophy, because usually they follow the philosophy that came from their ancestors, like from decades, from 100 years ago. And then now we are trying to involve the weavers as the artisans, as the designer, the weaving designer. And we can we can inject the trends of colors on the modern life. So they can create the products that are suitable for this nowadays lifestyle. And the second one is to develop the product that we can use it on everyday's life also. So those two, the transformation of the pattern and the transformation of the products that can bring another value to the traditional one.
And I'm sure it's not happen in a night, right? You are in India, yeah? No, it's not in a night.
Yeah.
It's years. Perhaps it will take years. It will take decades to be able to do that. But for Livy Mona, if you would like to check what happened in Lawe's website, you can see how actually Lawe is able to combine these traditional and modern elements through the product range of Lawe. Maybe Mbak Hyacinta, do you have any insights or ideas on how to combine these traditional and modern elements with that 40 more motifs from Tinimba? What can we do to combine these traditional elements with the modern one?
As I mentioned in my presentation, in Tanimbar, the weavers already made the textile, the ikat, for contemporary use. And they from many years ago, they already made sarung for adat and other textile for skirt, for suit, like that. So before they collaborate with other designer to collaborate to make a fashion from textile. They already made it for the society already made modern clothes using textile, and the Tanimbar Weaver made it made it for suit, for skirt. If like for example, if they order for the skirt, they will make one dua lembar ya, dua lembar kain gitu. Yeah. So it's depend on the demand, yeah. And yeah.
So
and they already know.
We have to create the demand, right?
Yes.
You
They already
mentioned
know
that.
to we don't cut the motifs like that. So they made it made it one
into the whole clothes become one specific product. Is that the rule? I mean, like, is that because there's a norm or some kind of how would I say, larangan gitu to cut the cloth into pieces?
And tidak secara khusus ya, tapi memang untuk apa ya, appearance better than dan menghemat ya, saving the yarn.
Yes, that's true. Dr. Linda, do you have response for this question? How do we combine the traditional and modern elements in weaving industry?
Yes, I mean, it's similar to my other cohorts. Here, I mean, weavers, always develop new designs. Sometimes it's very conspicuous, sometimes not. But, also there's, also sometimes limitations in terms of technique. They can only do particular things using a specific technique. For example, with the couture weavers, with the country warp technique, they can do kind of very geometric patterns. However, if they use beading, they add beads while they weave. So they place the bead on the weft thread, then they place it in between the warp threads in certain areas to build the pattern. So this provides flexibility so they can make rounded organic patterns. So here, before you wouldn't have a butterfly, you wouldn't have, a pretty flower or a tree, or, they can do even a face if you like. There's opportunities, just giving for me, I'm less rigid. I like to be freestyle. I support the weavers, but I don't want, I'm not their employer. I want to support the independent artists. And so giving them freedom to make what they want. And for example, one weaver said, I dreamt about this pattern, and then she made it. So, I believe weavers are also artists, and giving them a chance for creativity, and also be how young weavers, they can also put in their imagination, their dreams into their own weavings as well, or try to, transfer that to other weavers using graph paper and as well as, some computer programs.
Yeah,
yes,
that is very interesting, because I know it from your talk that you mentioned that traditional weaving can actually the forms of female expression, but it's not only female expression, but also young girl expression. And also Ibu Adinida mentioned about that boys as well can involve in this. So I think that's all related. Dr. Linda, following your talk about this expression, I mean, do you, and this is also a question coming from let me see, from Livy Mona, there's a question. Do you have a favorite woven fabric pattern Dr. Linda, and maybe that's also for closing this question and answer session. Do you have your own favorite woven fabric pattern, and why?
Okay, my favorite pattern. It's so hard to choose. There's so many beautiful and exquisite patterns. But let's say, for the research I'm doing in Indonesia, it's from the Alor Island, which with the Alaris or the Alarung ethnic group. And one pattern they call Balolong Sambung, which is the connecting banyan leaf pattern. Yeah, so it looks like a lattice. So anyway, this has importance in their culture and their history, going back to the founding father of their clans of the Alarun kingdom. So I like how this has been transmitted over time for centuries. So presently, that's my favorite pattern.
Okay,
yeah, thank you.
Balolong Sambung from Alor. So everyone, please note that one. Try to Google that so that you know what Dr. Linda mean with this Balolong Sambung. I will do that later on after this. Mbak Yasinta, what's your favorite pattern? And among those 40 more, so what's yours? And perhaps which
Luckily,
one?
I brought this.
Okay, show us.
For me. And this is Bakan Marin, Thai Smaran, because it has so many ikat here. As you know, in Tanimbar now, the young weaver is like to make a sarung that has only small and not many ikat, because ikat technique is difficult to them also. And this is in the past is the and right now and still right is the fanciest sarung in Tanimbar.
How much if we want to buy? I mean, like, I don't have money now, but if you want to buy, how much is that?
My Lamerenan sarung, all Lamerenan sarung is only 3 million. Rupiah.
Only 3 million. Okay, we should save, right? Not going to Starbucks. Save the money to buy ikatnya Mbak Yasinta. Okay. Sorry.
Beautiful.
I mentioned the brand. Oh my God. Okay. Okay, so Ibu Adinindya, so what's your favorite pattern and a bit of story? Why?
Okay, so I have two. The first one is one that we create in Lawe, like this. How can you see that?
Yeah, a bit.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah, we create this pattern. This is a part of our, where is that?
Yes, perfect.
More contemporary motifs that we create inspired from Indonesia's endemic birds. So we already have 11 pattern of it. So that's our
Does it have meanings? Does it have certain meanings with this pattern?
It came from, I don't have the picture now. It came from the colors of the birds. So we can tell people that this is the birds in Indonesia, that part of our heritage also, if part of our wealth in Indonesia. And this is our first series, the birds of Indonesia, and we are going for the orchid of Indonesia and also fish of Indonesia. And actually it's like a very simple one. It's just stripes, but we can tell stories about it. So it's like from the ancient of Yogyakarta's pattern, like the one in what you call it, kluwung or rainbow. They have a very, very deep meaning because on the ancient time, the person that lost her or his sister, older and the younger one, they need to wear this kluwung pattern, so they can feel happy about it and not feeling sad of losing her or his brother and sister.
Oh, wow! It has such a deep meaning indeed.
Yeah, and
All right.
I want to mention also one favorite of mine, that once I have a classes, the weaving classes around 9 villages in Nusa Tenggara Timur, and the one I visited is like about 4 hours by cars from the city, and it's up of the mountain. And we discuss about how they can develop the contemporary motif instead of only doing the traditional one. And 1 week after that, we revisit the village, and one of these senior ladies, weaver, she saw her new pattern, and actually it's very simple. It's like a dot, a line of dots with many colors. And when I asked what the story of it, and she said it's a disco light.
Disco lights.
Disco lights.
Right.
And actually, I wonder, is has she really visit disco places, and she want to translate the disco lights into the living?
It's a form of expression, just like Dr. Linda mentioned. It's a form of expression.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Okay. All right. So now I think the last question about each of our speakers' favorite pattern, that's close our answer and question and answer session. Now we're going to focus on our participants here by asking them to join some kind of quizzes that has been prepared by the committee. Are we going? Can we start the Mentimeter now? Yes. So please get ready with your gadget. It's coming. It's still blurry in my screen, but it's coming. What happened? Mas Peter, is it also blurring your screen, or is it only mine?
Yes, it's also blurring my screen.
Yeah. Or can someone help you copying the link to the chat, the Zoom chat? I don't know what happened. It's coming, but it's very slow. It's coming. Yes. So please, dear participants, go to the www.menti.com and use this code. I cannot see properly the code, but I hope it's correct. 85950341. Saya ulang ya. Kodenya 85950341 di halaman website www.menti.com. Yang berada di Zoom bisa click the link that has been sent in the chat Zoom. Speakers, Dr. Linda, Mbak Yasinta, Ibu Adi Nindya, you may also join. Can I join? I want to join. Let us join. And the code is 8995. Why it cannot be found?
And it says voting is closed.
Yes, it says the voting is closed, and when we enter the code, it says that it cannot be found. So the code is, oh, the code is, all right. Now the code is 85950341. Okay, 4 people I think joining now. 5, yes, it's coming. It's coming alive. 6 people joining. 9. We're going to have more people joining, or is it only 9 people? I think we are ready. Can we have, okay, 11, okay, so more people joining. Someone says she cannot join. I don't know how. 13. Iran, maybe you can re-entry the code. Try again. Fourteen people join. Can we start the first question? Yes. So the first question is, do you have any weaving experience? And the answer is quite simple. It's only yes or no. Do you have any weaving experience? It means that you play with the loom tools, yeah, I think, or any experience with weaving. Maybe wearing one. I'll say yes. I'll say yes. I have the weaving experience. Okay, 13. I think we have another one because there are 14. There are 14 participants joining, so there should be 14. Is that it? Okay, so wow, only 5 out of 13, yeah, that knows about weaving, that have weaving experience. Now this is the second question. What's your idea to make something handcrafted? So it doesn't have any option. So you have to write down what's your idea to make something that is handcrafted. Yeah, someone's wrote rattan bag. So you need to enter word. Okay. Ooh, all right. Coaster, shoes. Yeah, I like shoes. Shoes. Nice. Tissue box, ashtray, weave basket, coaster. Yes. More, please. Coaster from clay. Yeah, handcrafted. What else? Shawl. Yes, yes. That's true. Leather bag. Spindle. Hey, you want to make elevator? Oh, I don't know. You really can make elevator handcrafted. All right. This is a response from 12%. Right. So the next question. The third question. Which cities or countries do you know that produce the best handicraft? Is it Para, Katingan, Bali, or perhaps you know some other place that has not been very well known by others? This is your time now to show it to us, right? Yes, we have Lombok. Any other place? Papua, yeah. Ya, Papua, West Handicraft. Kalimantan Barat, Bukit Tinggi. Okay, just wondering. Bandung, yes, that's where I live. Ambon, Bukit Tinggi, Cimahi, even Cimahi have West Handicraft. I'm not sure if any of you know Cimahi. It's very close to Bandung. Okay, Palembang, Sumba, Jepara, Cirebon, yes. What else? Palembang has been mentioned. Palembang again, Yogyakarta, Cirebon, Papua, Jepara. All right, now can we have the fourth question? The fourth question is, right, so how do you feel about this event? Is it informative? Is it fun? Is it interesting? Okay. Fun, yes. Oh, someone thinks it's fun. Wonderful, it's true, it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful as well. It's amazing, bermanfaat, heartwarming, thrilling, beautiful, and engaging, amazing. It's inspiring, valuable. Oh, glad that it's valuable. Phenomenal. Wow. Okay. Amusing. Okay. Menghibur. Lovely. Thank you so much for this response. Do we have the last question? I think, yeah. So on the scale from 1 to 5, and 5 is the highest, would you recommend your friends and relatives to join at America's event? Yes, 4 people said definitely. I will definitely. Someone says probably, yeah. Maybe by the theme, yeah. You will consider the theme, and then you'll probably recommend this to your friends and relatives. So that's 12 response. It's coming again. I think there's another one. No? Okay, so yes, 9 out of 13 said that they will definitely recommend this to friends and relatives. They will love this Americas. Thank you so much for the participation. Now let me give it back to Mbak Aninda for this event. Thank you so much, Mbak Aninda. Thank you, speaker Dr. Linda, Mbak Yasinta, Bu Aninda.
Thank you very much for our speakers and moderator for today. It was so fun and insightful. We hope to collaborate again with you in the near future. So earlier in this event, we had a question of the day. The question was, is it true or false the art of weaving in each region has different characteristics? And the answer is true. It is because the social culture in society varies and closely relates to beliefs, natural environment, and social organization in the society. Shout out to @OMG She Spoke from Instagram for answering correctly. Thank you to everyone who has participated to our question of the day. Don't forget to tune in next time and catch a chance to get a live shout from us. Now you may be wondering, how can I develop an awesome idea with a place like this? Very easy. You can send your event proposals to us by visiting our website at www.adamerica.org.id. Select create a program and go collaborate with us. All the event proposals will be reviewed and your event might be featured here soon. While you are on our website, don't forget to subscribe to get our weekly event updates. So that wraps this episode. It's been fun. Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at ATAmerica for fun content and so much more. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Well, Thank you for joining us. My name is Aninda and see you next time. Bye bye.